y'all doing today? Welcome to What's Up, Doc. Today we have another special guest, and it's a she. I'm kind of excited about this because she's absolutely beautiful. Um, she's been connected with certainly Reno, Carson, Gardnerville, and most specifically Minden. And the reason why I say that is because of the Dangberg Ranch. She is the coordinator there. She not only is she an entertainer in her own right, and we will get into that most definitely, is that she has a whole plethora of entertainment that she schedules through the year. It is a nonprofit, and she tries to generate as many dollars as she can to keep the ranch going. It is a very expensive proposition, but if one can do it, she's the one that's able to. She's the one that's going to do it. I guarantee you. All right. Without any further ado, please, Kim Harris, right here in our studio this morning, and welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
This is wonderful.
Well, yeah, and we have a nice day.
Oh,
it's
beautiful.
Not too hot. I mean, it will get hot this afternoon, but I am certainly glad that you're here today. It makes me feel good. I love my guests and everything, but to have such beauty. Now you have to look at her dress. I mean, her dress is absolutely stunning, and of course we have a wide angle. Yeah, okay, we got that, and maybe if we don't forget, we can have her stand up later on, and we'll take a full shot. Now this here is a bustle dress, is it not?
It is. It's a polonaise, and bustle being different for those who don't know than, say, a hoop dress is. In the 1860s, more women died by fire than by almost anything else, and that was because they always worked around fire, and the hoops were so wide that they would, catch on fire, and the women, by the time they knew it, and they certainly couldn't stop, drop, and roll.
Didn't know that.
Yep, so then they redesigned this in about the early 1870s so that the women still had, the rear, which was supposed to be very attractive, but they cut down on the front so that it was easier and safer for women. Yeah.
How wonderful is that? I didn't know that.
Yes.
I thought it was just, that's good. I like it.
Yeah.
And then you have a corset to keep everything in and straight and all that stuff too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The proper woman in the 1860s would could wear up to 15 petticoats, no lie.
15?
15 petticoats, and that showed how wealthy their husbands were. But the undergarments were used more for wicking away the sweat because, say, a corset couldn't easily be cleaned in the 1860s or 70s, but men designed the clothes for the women, and men designed corsets, and a woman would wear a corset from almost the time she was born until the time she died. And many times they would sleep in their corsets. There'd be corsets for different things. I'm wearing a corset right now, and these days we don't necessarily need them, but to wear the complete costume, yes, I'm wearing a corset, and it's helping me sit straighter too.
Yeah, and I enjoy the bustle and the corset dress and whatever this represents. I just absolutely love it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you dressed like Julia Burleigh would dress during the time. Is this your character?
Yes, I chose this dress because I think it's one of the most stunning dresses that I have. And, I have about 5 or 6 different dresses and costumes. And I do have to say, I do portray Julia Burleigh in Chautauqua, which is living history, first person. But I have to make a correction that nobody else would know. I started out portraying Julia Burleigh in a play with my friend Lisa Bomarito, who portrayed Eiley Bowers. But in the play that we wrote together, there's a little bit of comedy in it, and we envisioned Julia and Eiley getting in a fist fight.
Whoops.
At the end, yes, because they didn't like each other. And in our play, we knew that we would not have very large areas all the time to act in, so we did away with hoop skirts, which would have been more appropriate during Julia Burleigh's time because she was murdered in 1867. So Lisa and I took a little bit of liberty with costumes, stepped forward about 5, 6 years, and went with the bustle costume. So unfortunately, poor Julia would have never really been able to wear something like this. But she would have been close, but it was too late. She was murdered.
Whoops.
Whoops.
Well, now that we're on Julia, you know, it was had to be a couple of months ago. I went to see you at the Gold Hill Hotel,
Yes.
and you were performing there as Julia.
Yes.
And I walked in. I got there just in time, but we had a full house.
We did.
It was absolutely packed. It was almost like standing room only because I had to go get my chair in the back, and I think I was like one of the last ones to sit down. So it was like standing room only. But I have to say, before we continue on, is that you were absolutely riveting. Not only was you playing at the history of Julia, what was absolutely stunning, and you did an absolutely wonderful job. I had to give you a standing ovation a couple times during your performance because it was remarkable. But I'm going to leap forward a little bit, and I'm going to say you were absolutely remarkable when the question and answer period at the end of your performance.
Oh.
It was just as good as your performance was. It's amazing that you answered questions, and they were just random questions. You didn't know what was coming, but you handled those beautifully.
Well, thank you. And I have to say, that's almost the toughest part. And you're a reenactor as well.
Yes.
And that can be the toughest part
Sure.
because doing Chautauqua, we generally have a monologue. It's probably 45 minutes to an hour. So we've written the script ourselves and basically repeat it the same each time we perform. But you can't cover absolutely everything. And in your monologue, you can't answer everything that's going through people's heads. So you really have to have your entire character and their time period researched very well to be prepared for those questions. And I still always get a question, that I can't answer, but I always hope that my performance brings questions,
Mm-hmm.
that it causes people to think, because that's what it's about. It's not about acting as much as it is about sharing history.
Now we're not talking a couple of questions, folks. We're talking about probably. I'm thinking we had a half an hour of questions.
I think so.
The room was absolutely silent. You could hear a pin drop, and then each and every question was appropriate to the costume and to her character, and she was able to fend off those questions perfectly. And I certainly took note. Believe me. I thought that was absolutely remarkable. But when you have a house that's full, and of course a standing ovation at the end, I have to bring that in too, because it was an absolutely great performance. And of course she is a great actress in her own right. So I'm just reinforcing that everything. If people that do know Kim, they do know how much of an actor she is, and we're wonderful to be able to see her today at the Gold Hill. And actually, you have one coming up. When?
Well, I performed as Julia Boulay. We opened this series at the Gold Hill Hotel, and for those of you that are local, you know that they didn't have the lecture series for a couple of years. It was very popular. It's back now every Thursday night. $5 for the lecture at 7, or if you want to come for dinner, it's $25. And they're booked all the way through the end of September.
Good.
I came back this month, a little bit earlier, as Laura D. Fair, another Virginia City notable.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm booked for September 28th as Charlie Parkhurst.
I was just going to get into that. Now, the next character, which you love to do, and I've seen you in character, in costume, with Charlie, but I haven't seen that performance yet.
Oh, well, you'll have to come
Oh,
to that.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, what's the most important thing about Charlie? What made him so popular?
Well, I'll tell you, Charlie was a character, and he drove out here and also drove in Northern California during the 1860s. And he came from Rhode Island. He was hired by Jim Burke of the Pioneer Stage Line. And Charlie was self-taught and taught himself to drive 6 Up. And he was such a good driver, he was able to work with Hank Monk when they needed more than one stagecoach. And everybody out here should know who Hank Monk was. He was the Jehu of the Sierras. He was the fastest whip. He was the most skilled. But an interesting thing about Charlie is shortly after Charlie arrived in California in about 1852 or 53, Charlie was kicked in the head and lost the sight in one of his eyes, in his left eye. And he was told his career was through. But all he wanted to do was drive a stagecoach. So he taught himself to drive, again, with the sight in one eye.
Wow.
And so when he did drive with Hank Monk, he was known as One-Eyed Charlie. And he could chew tobacco and pick a leaf off a tree and spit at it and nail it when he went by. The other thing he could do is he could crack his
Now,
whip.
see what I tell you, folks?
Yeah.
Now here's the entertainer coming out right now.
Yeah,
Wonderful. I'm sorry. I
I
just
love these little
Yeah,
nuances
yeah.
about people. And he could also crack his whip and knock a cigarette out of somebody's mouth without hurting them. And people used to throw silver dollars in the road, and Charlie could line up his front and back wheel, right or left, of the stagecoach to roll right over that silver dollar. He was something else, and
That's
he could
good.
swear with the rest of them and drink just as hard as any of them. And he had a long life as a stagecoach driver. A long life as a stagecoach driver, rheumatism gets to you because of the cold and the rain.
Yeah.
So he retired at 54 and moved to SoCal, California, and he decided to take up lumberjacking and raise him some horses and chickens and cows. So he didn't really retire in my book. But then he eventually passed away after he became part of the community, and he was a member of the International Oddfellows. And at the time of his funeral, there was a surprise. And I'm not going to let you know what that is. You have to come to the show.
Have to come to the show.
You have to come to the show.
Big surprise. All right. I'm going to have to do it then.
Yeah.
Going to have to do it.
Don't want to give it away.
Fun. Now, getting back to the Dangberg Ranch, you know, there's a big event coming up,
Yes.
Buffalo Bill Wild West Show. Now, I was involved with that last year with Buffalo Bill, who was the headliner, and what a wonderful show. I hosted half of it, and I just loved. We had a packed house.
We did. Oh, we oversold out.
Oversold.
We didn't just sell out. We oversold out.
Best scenario. Excuse me.
And that was our first year.
That first year,
First year.
oversold, and then I understand it went over so well that Kim, can we have this again next year? As a matter of fact, can we have this as a calendar event?
That was what people were saying as they exited the venue.
Yeah.
So we are going to have it again. And yourself
Yes.
and Chuck Baldoskis, who portrays Buffalo Bill. The three of us are basically the ones that are going to orchestrate this and put this on. But for those of you who didn't have the ability to attend last year, we decided, the three of us, that after you and Buffalo Bill together had 2 years ago at Dangberg a fantastic sellout, largest attended Chautauqua event in
Yes.
2015, we decided, why not put on Buffalo Bill's Wild West? Now, we couldn't have Custer's Last Stand as part of it, but we did it Carson Valley, Northern Nevada style, Virginia City style. So we have a lot of notables in the show, and they're returning as well. So we have characters that portray people that did know Buffalo Bill Cody, that
Yes.
knew him very well, as Wild Bill Hickok did.
Actually,
Yeah.
during the time, I was one of his very good friends.
Yes,
During
yes.
the time.
So we're bringing everybody together, including the Pony Express. And for those of you who don't know, Buffalo Bill Cody was a Pony Express rider when he was 14, 15 years old. And we're bringing authentic entertainment and even some gunfighters. But as I understand it, it's a fun gunfight.
Oh, good,
But
good.
we're doing
Excellent,
this again. We're expecting to sell out. And it's a way to, again, bring Western history and the history of our United States when the West was first opening up, and to share it with the people of today. And it's going to be on Saturday, August 26th. So when we decided to have this as a regular event, we decided to pick the last Saturday in August, so you can always remember that. That's like the Candy Dance in Genoa. It's always the last full weekend of September. But this is August 26th. Gates open at 10. The show starts at 11. There'll be a 45-minute intermission. We have plenty of shade this year. We're ordering another canopy for our attendees to sit under. And then the show will go till about 3 o'clock. But the cost is $15 for adults, $10 for members of the Dangberg Home Ranch Historic Park, and for children 16 and under, it's absolutely free.
Oh, that's good.
Northern Seattle, where did I get that?
Yeah.
I bet they have one anyway. Northern Sierra Dutch Oven Cooking Group will be there, providing a $10 lunch. Wonderful. The Douglas High School Marching Band will lead us in the Grand March, and they'll have their own booster booth there to earn money. They're going to pass
Can I
them.
add a little bit to that?
Oh, please.
I was absolutely astounded when the Douglas Band showed up. We had 62 pieces.
Yes.
This is a full-on marching band.
Absolutely, and they let us in and out of our Grand March with some fantastic pieces.
I got
And
goosebumps right now
I do
thinking
too.
of, yeah.
And
Thinking
so
about
they
it.
will be back. They
Yeah.
will be back. They said they couldn't wait to be part of it again. So you see, and we're having the cavalry. And this year, let me add, because this is a main feature, the Comstock Civil War reenactors will be a major feature. They're going to put on a mini battle. They're going to put on a procession.
Excellent.
They're going to bring their cannon and fire it.
Excellent.
And I'm only naming half of the acts right now. So you've got to come, and if you want to get a hold of us, get a hold of Dangberg Home Ranch Historic Park.org, and all of the information is there. And tickets will be going on sale, from what I understand, I believe at the end of this week. So very soon, folks. By the time you see this, we'll already be selling tickets.
Selling tickets, good.
And we can only
Excellent.
sell 230. That's all. It's an outdoor venue, and that's all our venue will allow because of parking and so forth.
And we do have to remember now, this is a sellout event.
Yes.
So if you wait till the last minute, unfortunately, you may get locked out. So when the tickets come on sale, you may want to hurry on down and get your tickets.
And you're gonna
Get your tickets.
Yeah, you're gonna see Wild Bill Hickok doing his thing with the whips. You don't want to miss that. So
Yeah, you know,
That's
and it
main
gives me a
feature for
chance
me.
to show off again.
Yeah.
And certainly I'm not, and I love to do that. I love talking to the audience. And again, I'll be hosting half of the show, along with Buffalo Bill Cody, certainly who stars and for good reason. He was one of the most celebrated characters in the West, where we had a huge show in the East, and then also overseas in Europe. It was just absolutely incredible what he did overseas. As a matter of fact, I believe they had a World's Fair over there, and he drew more attendance at the World's Fair, at his event, than the World's Fair. So it's just incredible what Buffalo Bill. So we're going to bring a little bit of that to you come August 26th. So please get your tickets early.
Please.
And along with that, we may have a little skit too that I've been told. And how wonderful to be able to work with Kim as a skit. But then again, I think that me, you, Cody, and there's a couple other actors that actually we're going to do something more than what the Dangberg has to offer. Only because we enjoy each other and we respect each other's acting ability, and I think that we can do on a pretty good show. So even maybe here at the Virginia Nevada studios, we could bring some of that entertainment to you too locally.
That would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be
wouldn't
fun.
that?
Absolutely fun. So this is this is one heck of a venue and year for Kim. Not only is she booked on different. I remember you talk about being booked throughout the year, and of course you have the Dangberg Ranch, which is also you're doing something at least every couple of weeks. There's something going on at the Dangberg Ranch.
Every week we have concerts out there on select Thursdays. We have Chautauquas on select Wednesdays. We've had Theodore Roosevelt there. We've had Will Rogers. We've had Buffalo Bill Cody and Wild Bill Hickok. We've had Mark Twain. We also have on select Saturday mornings, not every Saturday, we'll have speakers or authors that will come in and do it. It generally is historic and in reference to Virginia City, Carson Valley, Carson City, or Tahoe history, or Nevada history. Those are what usually we book the talks on. So, and then we have major events, like we consider Buffalo Bill's Wild West.
Sure.
That's a major event.
That's a major event,
And we
yeah,
just had Western Heritage Celebration. So from May through August, we have something going on every week. So yes, do go online and check us out.
Yeah, and it's just incredible to be at the Dangberg Ranch. In one respect, the audience is so friendly. They're mostly locals.
Yes.
And she draws from Minden, of course, and Carson, and also Gardnerville. Is primarily her base, but the fact is that she books a lot. I mean, it fills up.
Yes.
It fills up. So when you see something that's advertised, you may want to hurry down and get your tickets, because I know that when me and Cody did our Chautauqua, I was surprised. This is the first Chautauqua that I ever did, and Cody, he's the one that scripted everything, and I was kind of like a ghostly figure that came in and out of his historical speech, and it turned out pretty good.
Worked out well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So that's some of the entertainment, local entertainment, that you're going to have constantly there, and so I can't. I guess can't talk too much more about that. We're running short of time here, but I'm certainly thanking our guest today. Is there any final words that?
I just want to say thank you for having me here, for giving me a chance to share why I share history, why I'm passionate about sharing history. And here in Virginia City at Virginia Studios, Virginia City Studios or Virginia?
Virginia, Nevada.
Virginia, Nevada. I got to get
Studios.
this right. Yeah. Here in Virginia, Nevada, I'm hoping that we're going to have a lot more events up here, because you have to come see this set and see this town that Cody and Doc have put together. It's amazing, and it's authentic, and I can sit here in my very fancy gown and truly feel like I have stepped back into 1860.
Yeah.
So Doc has gone to great extents to share history with you and to help you understand why so many people are interested in reliving a great time in our West, the birth of our West and the birth of our state. So that's I think that's all I wanted to add. Is I just wanted to say thank you.
And I thank you for that. And that's a good point, because we are filming here from Virginia, Nevada Studios.
Yes.
Even as we speak, we're right here. We kind of rearranged everything to accommodate our guest, and we certainly have our Victorian couch for the lady here, and it
Feel like
sounds
a
like she
princess.
really likes it. But we do have. Actually, now that we're talking about doing some movies out here, we have one coming up called Psycho Whitey, and this lady here is actually my leading lady. I'm Psycho Whitey. I'm kind of well. Anyway, we'll wait for that. It's going to take too long to talk about that. But
well, what's not to love?
Yeah, that's a little tease for you, and we'll talk about more about that later on when we have some more guests that are scheduled, and they'll be also part of the cast of Psycho Whitey. But again, I want to thank Kim for being here this morning. I know she had to get up early and she had to fit everything together, and that takes a lot of time. But it surely beautified our set, as you can see. And again, a lot of information came out today, and I appreciate Kim being here, and thank you so much. And that's it. So you all have a great day, and adios. And we're done.
Oh, how fun
Thank
was
you.
that?